Welcome to the Sap ENT show where we interview singers, rappers, entrepreneurs of all walks of life. And today's special guest, we have a talented female by the name of Alexis Miranda, aka Lexthegawd, aka Blaq Alice. How you doing?
Hey.
How you doing, girl? You looking good?
Hey, what's up? Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's
You know, just slow mo today. I ain't do my makeup or nothing.
Look at me, I got on a hat.
Look, hats are cool. I love hats. I wish I had on a hat. That's more of my steez.
Okay, Miss Lexi. Okay, so tell the world your story.
Tell the world my story. That is one loaded question. I mean, I have a long story. Tell the world my story. Well, I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. Well, actually, a suburb outside of Dallas called Lancaster. That's where I'm from. And I've always been involved in creativity, like the arts. You know, I started out in like theater. My dad was a DJ. So I always loved music, was always around music. My aunt was like in a singing group touring with Boys to Men. So I was just around it like my whole life, just like the industry and stuff. Went to art school and then moved to LA.
Okay, all right. Sounds
Yeah.
pretty good. So, what inspired you to start doing music?
Like music has just always been like a huge part of my life. Like, because my dad was a DJ, and I just found out recently in my adult life that my grandma was a DJ back in the day. So I didn't even know. Like, I just found out because I saw a picture of her. She was always like super fly, bell bottoms, hair big, And I was looking at a picture of her from the 70s, and she had these big speakers behind her. Because, stuff back in the day, like music equipment used to be huge. So she had like these floor speakers that went up that were taller than her. And I remember being like, what is that? And she was like, oh yeah, I was a DJ back in the day. And I was like, what the hell? So I was like, okay, I see that this runs in my family, like this love for music. And so then my dad was a DJ. And that's like all the memories I have of my dad, just me and him just going through music, just my whole life. He had a music room. And then his sister was in a singing group. My mom worked for labels. So I just was always like going to concerts when I was little. And I remember one time, like, I rode in a limo with Silk, the group.
Oh, wow.
Right. When I was like a kid, I'm like, looking back, I'm like, what was the little girl doing in the limo? Like, it wasn't nothing bad was happening or whatever. They went on no bullshit, but I just have like crazy memories of like being around all these musicians and stuff. So I've just always been around it and would always watch live shows. And, I was a kid at the Hard Rock Cafe backstage, like 5 years old. Had no business being there, but I was just always around it and I loved it. So that's how I started. Yeah.
That's dope. Okay, so how many albums or EPs do you have?
I don't have any albums or EPs. I just release singles.
Okay.
That's what I do. And I just been releasing singles. Like, I'm the type, like, because I love music so much and I can be a perfectionist. Like, I'm an artist. Like, I'm an artiste in every sense of the word. I call myself a performance artist. So, like, man, my vision for an album, I'm one of them people, like, I want it to be cohesive. I want it to be a story. I'm like, if I put out an album or something like that, I want it to be right. Like, you know what I'm like?
Yeah,
like
for
like
real.
like a theme. I want to create a sound. I want to create a moment. I don't see myself just pulling from all these different producers and being like, oh, make me a beat. Like, I want to work with like the same 2-3 people and we are together and
for sure
we create a thing together. So that's like what I really want to do.
Okay. Remember, I wanted to do an EP with you.
What we talking about?
But anyway,
still happy.
So yeah, one day. What was it like for your first ever performance on stage?
My first ever performance, I just remember like it was like a high, and it was like I lost sense of time. It's just a feeling you can't describe. It's like literally the feeling that I get from drugs. You know, like to me, it's like the greatest drug, and just in any medium, you know, like because I did theater, I was doing talent shows, singing, rapping, whatever. And it's like you get on stage and it's just like you're immersed in the moment like never before. You know, it's like you lose track of everything. And then when it's over, you like, wait, what just happened? And then people are clapping. You're like, what? You just went somewhere else. That's what I felt. Yeah.
Okay, so what obstacles did you have to overcome to get this far in your life?
Lord Jesus. What obstacles? I mean, I would say for me, you know, my parents had me young, so they weren't necessarily ready to be parents. So it was a lot of like, and I didn't have it like bad. Like some people have it worse, you know, it could always be worse, but just a lot of like moving around a lot and, you know, just like instability, just a lot of like instability, which, yeah, I think that's been one of my greatest obstacles, and like feeling like at times I was kind of raising myself, or I had to learn things myself. And so I felt like that was a setback at times, because you know you look at people like Beyonce, and it's like, of course, they're like you had both your parents, and they was like from jump, like investing in you, nourishing your gifts and your talents, and telling you could do it, and put you in this position mentally, emotionally, and you know you look at that, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's what makes that, you know. But like for me, it was like, even though I had parents in the industry, they still were kind of like kids. So, you know, I think that's always been an obstacle for me. And then also just myself and my own like self-sabotaging ways, you know.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily believing in myself like I should. And so sometimes that manifests physically is like self-sabotaging behaviors, you know. So just
Sometimes we
overcoming
be
that.
our biggest critic, and it's
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, let's get off this music right now, because I do know that you are a comedian. Is that where
Yeah.
Blaq Alice come from?
It's weird because Blaq Alice just came from like me in the pandemic really assessing where I was and accepting the fact that, because sometimes we look at ourselves and we compare our situation to others, and we say, oh, I should be further along, or this person is doing this. But I had to like look at my journey and be like, you know, even when I was talking about like my upbringing, it's like sometimes you got to look at your situation and be like, oh, I had this, I I was brought up in these circumstances to learn XYZ and to share certain things with other people in the world. And so I was just kind of assessing my life and like my journey, and I've just had a really crazy journey.
Okay.
Like, really crazy journey. Like when I tell people my stories, they be like, you lying. Like nobody can ever believe some of the things that I've experienced. And so I kind of was at a place where I didn't really know like what to do on social media, because I can be very like, I'm not one to like go along with what everybody else is doing. Like no, not I don't knock you if you're doing it, but I'm just very like, no, I'm gonna do me. Like I'm not a crowd pleaser. I'm not. I'm just not. And you know, I'm a very like salt of the earth kind of person, and I know that. But I was like, well, where do I fit in that medium? And I was like, my friends was like, nigga, just tell your story. He's like, you be telling us, like, cause you know. And I was like, oh, okay. So Blaq Alice, I love like Alice in Wonderland, you know, cause the whole thing is like this girl who's who comes up a certain way, and people keep telling her she has to be a certain way, or she can't be this, or you know, or she got to depend on a man, or you know, just
For
certain
sure.
things outside of herself to like have a full life and like live her dreams, and but it's like, nah, like go down a rabbit hole, and which means like, no, go on the adventure of life. Like, don't be scared to like go out and meet people and try new things, and you know, like, trust. And I think
For
it's
sure.
hard, especially for like young Black and brown women. Sometimes when you come up in certain circumstances and conditions and you're not as protected as other people, you know, you might go through stuff that has you not trusting like the world and the universe. You know what I'm saying? So Black Alice is like me, like my stories is like me telling especially brown and Black women, like, nah, like it really is a wonderland out there, and you
For
really
sure.
can
It
trust.
is.
Not everybody is bad, not everybody is, you know what I'm saying? You know, so that's where Black Alice came from, and I just started telling my stories online because they're insane. And then it's crazy because people started hitting me up. I got hit by like 2 directors and like 2 production companies saying this should be a scripted TV show. So now we're working on a script for the actual TV show.
What's up?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many comedy shows have you done so far?
Oh my God, a shit ton.
You can't keep
There's
up.
so many. I can't keep up.
Okay.
I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I've toured with Marlon Wayans, which even that, how I got linked up with Marlon Wayans is some Black Alice shit. And I'm going to tell that story on Black Alice. Like, it's some fucking Black Alice shit.
Universe.
It's the universe, right? I'm tapping in. And also be like, you gotta tap in, but also be true to yourself. You know? Like,
Yeah.
people respond, that resonates well with people. Like, you ain't gotta be perfect as long as you're trying to be just true to yourself, you know? People really like fuck with that. But like on tour, Marlon was doing a Russell Westbrook tour. I didn't even know who Russell Westbrook was when I got booked for his
You're
shit.
not an NBA fan.
No, I'm so tapped out of sports. I'm such an artsy fartsy person. Like, I don't know nothing about sports at all. I don't know who the athletes are. I don't. At
I'm
all.
a huge NBA fan, so
Of course.
yeah. Okay,
Look,
so
if you were Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal, I really don't know who you are.
yeah, you were young when you were watching them.
Pretty much, yeah.
They just legends, okay?
Right. I just know the list.
So yeah, so what was it like for your first comedy show? Like, what was the crowd like? What was
Fucking
you?
Black Alice shit, dude. Like, okay. So I was told by a famous person who's really successful to do comedy. They was like, Alexis, you naturally funny and you smart. Like, you got a perspective. You got a weird perspective. You should try it. I'm like, what? Never thought I would do comedy. I'm like, I've always acted and doing music. And I was like, huh? But then I was like, whatever, I'm trying, because I love performing at the end of the day in like any capacity. So I go to my acting class and I tell my teacher what this person said, and he's like, write a set, bring it to class, do it for the class. I said, all right. So I wrote some jokes, brought it to class, the class laughed. And then my teacher, because he was a connected dude, he was like, hey, I do a charity show annually at the Comedy Store.
Right.
And that's like the most famous comedy club in LA. And he was like, I want you to open. And I was like, and it's, you know, like beginner's naivety or like beginner's, like, you don't really know nothing about something. So you be like, all right. Like,
yeah, right. And so you
just
like,
try whatever. Because it's not a big deal to you. You know, you just like, what the fuck ever, cool. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. So, dude, my first show was on the main stage at the world famous comedy show. I opened up for a full house. I get off stage. Chris Rock is on that show. And I get off stage and Chris Rock is in the wings. And he goes, you did good. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, thanks. And I just walked over. So that was my first comedy show.
Okay.
At the Comedy Store. Like for real, it takes comedians years to perform in that room.
Mm.
Like years. That's like the room that comedians like they really try to work their way to get to, and like that was my first show.
Oh wow, that's what's up, girl. You just blessed all around. So
That Black
how do you balance out the music and the comedy?
I don't. I really don't. I just let it come how it comes. To be
Go with the
honest,
flow.
I really be going with the flow. Like I really want a career like Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. Like he got a comedy special, he got a TV show, and he be dropping albums when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? And he is not a super commercial artist, but he's commercially successful. You know, but I really like love his career, so I just let things flow how they need to flow.
For
If
sure.
I want, like, I really want to, like I said, do like a cohesive album, but it's like the things had to be in order for me to be in that space where I have a consistent space and with consistent people to record. And I feel like all of that is finally coming together now. So it's all about timing. But in the meantime, I'm not gonna turn down no comedy shows. You know, I'm not. So I
For
got 3
sure.
comedy weekend. So
Okay.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
what advice would you give any new artists or comedians?
What advice would I give new artists or comedians? Be true to yourself. Find the joy in what you do and do it because you love it. You don't. And then it's like, if you're going to be in these streets because you want to share what you do because you love it. I feel like everything is about intention. And I think that's why I've always been in the right place at the right time. Some people would be like, oh, it's because you're pretty or whatever. I know a lot of pretty bitches in LA. We come a dime a dozen. We are so
Sure.
interchangeable. Period. Like, period. I walk out my house, there's 30 pretty bitches and they look better than me and they got bigger titties. I ain't got no titties, you know? So to be real, you know, they got way fatter asses. It's like, that's my always it. But it's like, I think people really respond to authenticity. You know what I'm saying? Like people that really just try to be honest and people that do what they love. So yeah, you leave the house, don't go out to be like, I gotta network, I gotta meet people. I'm gonna be real, that ain't never my aim. And if it ever has been at any point in time, because I'm not perfect, it never worked out the way I wanted it to work out.
For sure.
It
It's
always
not.
been a fuck night, you know? But it's always a night where I'm like, fuck it, I just wanna have fun, I wanna get fucked up, and I'm just open and I'm authentic and I'm just talking to people and being myself. I mean fucking, you know, freaking Jeff Bezos or some shit. I'm like, what the hell? I just, you know, that's how it always happens. So I just like, yeah, be authentic, do what you love, and then when you go out and take that out to the world, make that be your intention. I just want to share what I do and who I am with people, and you will always be where you're supposed to be.
For sure. Can you give the world a little sample of what you can do? Maybe like some singing, rapping, a little skit or something like.
Oh my God, that's so much pressure. I don't even know what to do. Maybe I'll like rap. Okay, because you know I'm a cute girl. I'm a pretty girl in LA, right? You know what I'm saying? Some saying niggas always trying to like buy me, but because a lot of people can't be bought. Fuck being a woman. A lot of people can be bought, but I say it's a lifesaver knowing you don't need a savior. He want to trap me, but I keep it player. I'm trying to tap in with another nigga later. He peel back other kind of layers. He slap, he hit deeper chambers. I dip on niggas who be hating. This guy know I'm doing you a favor. She fuck with you cause you paying me.
Yes, yes.
So that was like completely like whatever. You call me off guard, but I'm gonna do it.
Oh
Fuck it.
yeah, yes. I always,
Dream Riverside.
give the artists a little,
It's a
podcast.
lifesaver knowing you don't need a savior. I'm sorry. It's a
Watch out,
lifesaver
Jay-Z.
knowing you don't
Watch
need a
out,
savior.
Jay-Z.
Huh?
I said, watch out, Jay-Z.
Shut up, Sarah. You know you have a bar every now and then. You be like, damn, I said that. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say that one more
real,
time.
real.
It's a lifesaver knowing you don't need a savior. He won't trap you, but I keep it player. I'm sorry.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay. Well, is that a question that I may have missed? You know, before we end this segment.
I don't know. Do you feel like there's a question? Have you ever wanted to know anything about me as a friend?
Yes, for real. I do want to know who are your top 3 influencers.
Top 3 influences? Oh God, that's so hard. I can say people I love and I like want to model my shit after. Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover. Kendrick Lamar. I just love him so much. He's like my favorite. Fucking, it sucks because ain't no women in this, and I'm working on it. But I love Kanye. Kanye has really influenced me. Like,
shout out to Kanye. He's from my hometown. Yes.
Yeah, Kanye's everything for me. He really is.
Okay, is there any artist you would love to work with, or any comedians? So the main ones.
Shit, Kendrick, Gambino. I love Doja Cat. Doja Fire. God, it's just because I'm so off guard. I mean, it's like people like Masego. You know, this is a chick I listen to a lot now, Cleo Soul. She fire. Yeah, that's really all I can think of off top right now.
Okay, so you guys heard it. Thank y'all for tuning in to Sap Entertainment Show with me and your girl Lex. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment. Also, stick around because I'm going to play one of her songs. It's called Always Something. Let's get it. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
It's been so long since we sat out on the porch. I'm glad to be home. Can you tell me what I miss? No, you gotta go to work. Can't you choose to let that go? I wanna just sit here and chill with you. Take you, look into my eyes, yeah. Tell you now, push it through this life jam. You gotta keep your head up to the sky. Ten toes on the ground, shit to come up, never bring you down. It's gonna be alright. Grandma used to say to me, there's always something, always something, always something. There's always something, always something, always something. But life, it just keep going. All these late fees dancing, oh oh. After that me dancing, oh oh. I remember this now laying on the floor. It was you and me, now I feel all alone. Said there's always something. Had to let go, it's just the wrong time. It's hard to go steady when your eyes take my back. More about your love, about your love. Not a man want the 50 step. Even when I'm sitting pretty on a million.